Jai Gurudev, and thank you for joining us today. Today, again, we have with us an art of living expert and an officer of the Vedic Sansthan. Today, we are going to talk about the Yatra of the Sheetala Devi, which is currently residing in the Devi Hall at the Shri Shri Gurukul. It's soon going to start its Yatra towards North India. So, let's begin our discussion. So, what does the Sheetala Devi Yatra signify for devotees across India? Jayadeva, thank you for joining us today. The Sheetla Devi Yatra represents the journey of divine healing energy. In our tradition, Sheetla Devi is the goddess who cools, heals, and restores balance. The Yatra is not just a physical movement of the idol, it is the flow of Shakti across the land. When the Divine Mother travels from the Devi Hall of Sri Sri Gurukul in Bangalore, two centers across India, her presence revitalizes the spiritual field of every city. His Holiness Gurudev Shri Sri Ravi Shankarji often says, when divinity moves, consciousness expands. This yatra reminds us that devotion is alive, dynamic, and accessible to all. Each stop from Bangalore to Chandigarh becomes a sacred node of healing vibrations where devotees can directly experience divine grace. Now, how is Shitla Devi connected to the concept of healing in the Vedic tradition? In the Atharvaveda, Shitla Devi is described as Sheetalaya Swaha, the one who brings coolness to the body and mind. She governs purification, removing fever, disease, and inner heat born of anger and ignorance. In ancient Ayurveda, the balance of Pitta dosha or the fire element is linked with her blessings. When communities worshipped Sitala Mata, epidemics would subside and harmony was restored. This yatra revives that sacred science, connecting Vedic wisdom with modern life. By moving from south to north, her energy symbolically brings balance to the fiery ambitions of humanity with her cooling compassion. Gurudev's guidance has made this movement both a spiritual pilgrimage and a cultural healing initiative. Now, what inspired the Art of Living Foundation to begin this national yatra? It began with devotion for years. The Devi Hall at the Sri Sri Gurukul in Bangalore has been a place of deep sadhana and rituals. Devotees experience miraculous serenity and relief in the presence of Sheetala Devi. Gurudev, in his boundless compassion, felt that this grace should not remain confined to one place. Thus, he blessed the idea of the yatra so that every Art of Living center could host the Devi, conduct homas, and allow people from all walks of life to feel the divine coolness within. The journey also mirrors the spreading of knowledge as the Devi travels. Awareness about ancient rituals, cleanliness, Ayurveda, and compassion expands. Now, can you explain the connection between the Shitala Devi and the cleanliness rituals? Indeed, the Shitla Devi is deeply connected to Shaucha or purity of surroundings and heart. In Vedic Dharma, cleanliness is not mere hygiene, it's a sacred act. In villages, devotees clean their homes, sprinkle the cow dung water, and worship the cool earth before invoking the Devi. This symbolizes inner and outer purification. The art of living's involvement beautifully revives this practice, reminding modern devotees that environmental purity and spiritual purity are one. Gurudev often says clean surroundings reflect a clean mind. Thus, the Yatra also carries a message of ecological responsibility, sustainability, and harmony with nature, the very essence of Devi's blessings. Now, how does His Holiness Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankar Jesus' presence guide the Yatra? Every divine movement begins with the Sankalpa, the sacred intention of the Master. Gurudev's Sankalpa for this yatra was that the Devi's healing vibrations reach every home and heart. His presence transforms the ritual into a living experience of consciousness, whether it's the chanting of the Devi Stotra or the Sthapna ceremony at each Art of Living center. His blessings make the subtle energy of the Mother tangible. Now, Gurudev teaches that true worship is where knowledge, devotion, and service unite. And this yatra embodies that it's not just a journey of the idol, it's a journey of a collective consciousness awakening to gratitude and purity. Now, what scriptural references mention Shitla Devi's worship? The Skanda Purana and the Devi Bhagavata Purana describe Shitla Devi as a compassionate form of goddess Parvati who protects children and families from disease. She is often depicted seated on a donkey, holding a broom and a pot of cool water, symbols of cleansing and soothing. In the Shitala Ashtakam, she is praised as a Sarva Rogahara Devi, the one who cures all ailments. Her worship is usually performed on Shitala Ashtami following the Holika Dahan, marking the cooling of fiery energies. This yatra aligns with those Vedic principles, transforming the Devis' energy from textual reference into living experience across the nation. Now, how have devotees been responding to the yatra so far? The response has been overwhelming. From Bangalore to Hyderabad. Thousands gathered for darshans and homas. Many reported feeling a deep sense of calmness, reduced stress, and clarity of mind. In Nagpur and Jabalpur, devotees performed the Nagar Sankirtans and cleanliness drives before welcoming the Devi. The collective devotion has been contagious, uniting people beyond caste, language, or background. Gurudev often reminds us that devotion dissolves division. This yatra has truly become a celebration of unity in diversity. Wherever the Devi's chariot arrives, the atmosphere transforms. It feels like consciousness itself is cooling the heat of chaos. Now, what is the deeper meaning behind Shitla Devi's journey northward? Every direction in Vedic cosmology has symbolic worth and value. The north represents the higher knowledge and liberation, the Uttar Marga, the path of ascent. When Shitala Devi moves from south, the Dakshina to north or Uttara, it symbolizes the journey of Shakti, guiding seekers from emotional turbulence to mental stillness. The culmination of Kailash Ashram Dharamshala is not accidental. Kailash represents the abode of Shiva, the ultimate stillness. So, this movement depicts the union of Shiva and Shakti within each devotee. Through the yatra, Gurudev invites every soul to travel inward from heat to coolness, from restlessness to peace. Now, how does the art of living integrate traditional worship with the modern lifestyle? That's the uniqueness of Gurudev's vision. He bridges the ancient with the modern. The rituals of the yatra are deeply rooted in Vedic tradition, yet the essence speaks to today's life challenges like stress, health, relationships, and environment. Devotees who attend these events not only perform puja but also practice meditation, sudarshan kriya, and knowledge sessions. The spirituality becomes a living, breathing experience. The art of living centers serve as modern temples where sacredness meets simplicity. Sheetla Devi's message of cooling the body and mind aligns perfectly with the foundation's focus on holistic well being. Now, what will happen during the final sthapna at Kailash Ashram Dharamshala? The final sthapna is a sacred culmination. Priests from multiple traditions will perform the Navgraha Puja, the Devi Homa, and Prana Pratishtha to permanently establish the energy of Shitla Devi. The rituals will align with Agama Shastra and Vedic Vidhi, ensuring both textual purity and spiritual potency. Devotees will participate through mantra chanting and collective sankalpa. The atmosphere will be filled with chants, flowers, and peace. Symbolically, this act represents installing the Devi not only in the temple but within every devotee's heart. The Vedic Dharma Sansthan and the art of living together ensure that ancient Vedic worship continues to thrive with authenticity and love. Now, how does the Shitla Devi's energy relate to emotional healing and mental peace? Now, the Shitla Devi's name itself means the one who cools, while in Ayurveda, she balances the physical pitta. In the spiritual realm, she pacifies the emotional fire of anger, jealousy, frustration, and anxiety. Gurudev often says that emotions are energy in motion. When purified through devotion, they become love. During the yatra, devotees have reported feeling immense calmness after darshan, as if their emotional heat had been soothed by a mother's touch. Shitla Devi's presence teaches us that mental clarity arises not from suppression but from cooling the agitations of the mind to surrender. Just as meditation cools the nervous system, the Devi's darshan brings natural balance, reminding us that peace is our true nature, not a temporary state. Now, can you explain how the worship of Shitla Devi is connected with Ayurveda? Absolutely. Ayurveda and Vedic worship are two wings of the same word. Shitla Devi governs the cooling and purification processes in nature. Her rituals traditionally involve offerings like neem leaves, turmeric, and clay, all possessing antimicrobial and detoxifying properties. The Shitla Ashtami rituals emphasize consuming simple, non-heated food or Shital Bhojan, symbolizing rest for the body's digestive fire. Through Gurudev's guidance, this yatra reintroduces these forgotten Vedic Ayurvedic principles in a modern way. Devotees are reminded that good health is sacred. Maintaining internal and external cleanliness is a form of worship. Thus, the Devi's puja becomes both a spiritual and scientific act of healing. Now, how does this yatra encourage unity among various spiritual communities? Now, this is one of the most beautiful aspects. Wherever the Devi travels, the Art of Living centers invite local priests, devotees, and even interfaith leaders to join the worship. The Devi does not belong to one sect, she represents the Universal Mother. In Hyderabad and Delhi, Muslim and Christian families joined in the Aarti, wheeling the energy of love. Gurudev has always said, true religion unites, not divides. The yatra has become a living embodiment of that message. It reminds us that Shakti, the divine feminine energy, flows through every being beyond belief systems. When hearts unite in devotion, divisions melt away naturally. Now, why is the Sheetala Devi often shown riding a donkey, and what does that symbolize? Every aspect of Devi's iconography carries deep symbolism. The donkey represents humility and endurance, While kings ride horses or elephants, the mother chooses a simple animal, reminding us that true divinity resides in simplicity. The donkey, though not a glamorous, bears burdens, patiently a symbol of service. Similarly, the Sheetala Devi carries the collective pain and heat of the world to cool it with compassion. Her broom signifies cleansing impurities, her water pot symbolizes healing. Together, they express the eternal truth that humility and service are the highest forms of worship. The Art of Living's Seva or selfless service projects beautifully mirror this symbolism, cleaning, healing, and cooling the planet through selfless action. Now, how are the youth and children participating in this yatra? Jagadev, the youth are central to this movement. Gurudev always emphasizes involving young minds in spirituality through joy, not compulsion. During the Yatra, children and youth volunteers from the Sri Sri Gurukul and the Yes Plus programs organized Devi Vandana, cleanliness drives, and art workshops on healing Mother Earth. They sang Vedic chants, learned the meanings of mantras, and served prasad. Through these experiences, they felt that spirituality is not old fashioned, it's alive, creative, and deeply relevant. Many said that they felt more connected to their roots. This yatra, therefore, is also a bridge between generations, transmitting sacred traditions to future custodians of Dharma. Now, could you explain the significance of chanting during the yatra? Yagravya's mantras are vibrations that awaken the inner energy field. During the yatra, priests and devotees chant the Sheetala Ashtakam, Durga Suktam, and Devi Kavacham. Each syllable carries cooling, harmonizing frequencies. Science now confirms that such sound vibrations reduce stress hormones and synchronize the brain waves. The collective chanting in each city amplifies these healing waves across the environment. Gurudev's wisdom aligns with this. He teaches that chanting purifies the atmosphere as pranayama purifies the body. Thus, the yatra transforms every location into a resonant temple where both the subtle and physical realms experience cleansing and renewal. Now, how does the art of living see the divine feminine in today's context? So for us, the divine feminine is not limited to mythology. It is a living intelligence manifesting as intuition, nurturing, and creativity. Gurudev often says the world needs more feminine energy of sensitivity, caring, and inclusion. The Shitla Devi Yatra revives reverence toward the feminine, not as an external power but as an inner quality. Women volunteers, lead rituals, manage logistics, and conduct satsangs, symbolizing balance of power and a grace. In a time where stress and aggression dominate, the Devi's energy teaches softness and surrender. Through this, society gradually moves toward compassion driven leadership, the true expression of Shakti. Now, what preparations and precautions or rituals are followed to maintain the sanctity during the yatra? Jagadev, each stop follows strict Vedic protocols. The idol is carried only after the Prana Pratishtha mantras are chanted, ensuring the divine energy remains invoked. The yatra proceeds in specific muhurta times determined by planetary alignments. Priests maintain silence or chant continuously to preserve energy flow. The Devi never rests on the ground directly. She is always placed on sanctified cloth. The offerings include fresh flowers, turmeric, neem, and sandalwood, all known for their purifying qualities. This discipline ensures that every devotee experiences not just ritual beauty, but genuine spiritual vibrations. The sanctity of the yatra is thus both symbolic and energetic. Now, how does this yatra blend devotion with the social action? That's where Gurudev's genius lies. The yatra is not limited to temple worship, it's a movement for cleanliness, health, and harmony. In every city, seva activities accompany the rituals like tree plantations, medical camps, and environmental cleanups. This mirrors the deeper meaning of Shitla Devi's schooling nature, cooling not just minds but the planet. Gurudev teaches that spirituality must reflect in service. When the heart is full of devotion, service flows naturally. Thus, every darshan becomes a moment of inspiration to contribute to society. The Devi blesses not only through miracles but through the hands of her devotees in action. Now, what message would you give to devotees preparing to receive the Shitla Devi in their city? Jagade, prepare your heart as a temple, clean your home, offer gratitude to your ancestors, and maintain inner purity through silence and kindness. The Devi represents and responds to sincerity, not show. Chant her name of Om Reem Sheetalai Namaha and meditate on the feeling of coolness spreading in your mind. When she arrives, welcome her not just with flowers but with humility. Gurudev's blessings ensure that each devotee experiences her presence tangibly. Remember, the Devi's energy resides within you. When you honor her within, the outer darshan becomes transformative. The yatra is not her journey alone, it's your journey back to serenity. Now, many devotees report miraculous healings during the yatra. How does the art of living view these experiences? The miracles are expressions of grace, not the goal of spirituality. When devotion deepens, the energy of surrender opens doors that logic cannot explain. During the yatra, many reported relief from chronic pain, anxiety, and even long standing emotional wounds. Gurudev teaches that when the mind becomes still and connected to the divine, the body's natural healing intelligence awakens. Shitla Devi's presence cools the nervous system and reduces inner agitation, which modern science associates with better immunity and health. We encourage devotees to celebrate such blessings with humility, seeing them as reminders of the infinite intelligence of the universe working through love and faith. Now, from a Vedic standpoint, how are such miracles understood? Now, in the Vedas, miracles are not seen as supernatural but as natural expressions of divine order or rata. When cosmic balance is restored through prayer, mantra, devotion, harmony manifests in body and environment. Shitla Devi's Shakti represents the shamana of pacification. Diseases and disturbances are imbalances of energy. Her worship rebalances those vibrations. Ancient texts mention that those who worship her with purity are freed from fever, infection, and mental afflictions. Thus, what appears miraculous is actually the visible effect of subtle cosmic harmony. Gurudev's wisdom bridges this beautifully, showing that devotion is both mystical and scientific. Now, how does the meditation relate to the energy of the Shitla Devi? The meditation is the inner yatra journey of consciousness from heat to coolness. When we meditate, thought settle, breath slows, and the inner fire of restlessness extinguishes. Shitla Devi embodies that cooling stillness. Gurudev often says meditation is the mother's lap for the mind. When we sit in silence, we invoke her energy within. During the yatra, group meditations in each city have amplified this presence. People describe feeling enveloped in softness as though the Devi herself was resting in their breath. Thus, devotion and meditation are not separate, they merge as one continuous current of peace. Now, again, mantra chanting during meditation enhances the Devi's presence. Indeed, the mantra is the sound body of the divine. When we chant Om Reem Sheetalaya Namaha, we align our vibration with the Devi's cooling frequency. In meditation, the mantra becomes a subtle pulse, guiding prana into equilibrium. In Vedic practice, this is called mantra chaitanya, the awakening of consciousness through sound. When performed in collective sankirtan, it magnifies healing energy exponentially. Gurudev's teachings on mantra and silence perfectly complement this. The mantra invokes and meditation receives. Together, they form a sacred dialogue between the soul and the Divine Mother. Now, how do the rituals of Shitla Devi complement Sudarshan Kriya and Pranayama practices? All these practices work on cooling and cleansing energy. Sudarshan Kriya releases emotional toxins through rhythmic breathing. Shitla Devi's worship purifies through devotion. Both bring balance to the prana shakti. During the yatra, many devotees combined Kriya and Devi Puja, reporting deeper meditations and emotional stability. Gurudev often says that when the body, breath, and mind are purified, divine energy flows effortlessly. The rituals and breathing techniques are two sides of the same science. One works from the outer to inner, the other from inner to outer. Together, they make the individual a vessel of the Mother's grace. Now, what is the spiritual significance of offering cool items like curd and neem to the Devi? Together, the offerings represent surrender of the pitta within us, our inner fire of desire, anger, and competition. The curd, neem, and sandalwood have cooling properties both physically and symbolically. Curd softens the digestive and emotional systems, neem purifies toxins, and sandalwood calms the mind. When offered with devotion, these items act as tools of inner transformation. The offering it is not to please the deity but to purify the devotee. Gurudev reminds us that rituals are pathways to mindfulness, each act symbolizing inner alignment. Thus, the Devi accepts not the object but the emotion behind the offering. Now, how does Gurudev's guidance elevate traditional worship to global relevance? Jagadav Gurudev bridges ancient tradition with the modern consciousness. He doesn't merely preserve rituals, he revives their essence in a universal language. The Sheetala Devi Yatra is not limited to Indian devotees. International followers join online, chant mantras, and perform small pujas in their homes. Gurudev's message that the divine is universal, not cultural, inspires inclusivity. Through his guidance, traditional worship becomes a platform for global harmony. The Yatra demonstrates that love and purity transcend geography. Wherever devotion exists, the Devi manifests. This is the global revival of Dharma through simplicity and experiential understanding. Now, what role do Vedic priests and scholars play in maintaining authenticity of the rituals? They serve as custodians of spiritual integrity and scriptural integrity. Every mantra, every offering has a vibrational purpose and proper pronunciation and sequence preserve that energy. During the yatra, priests trained at the Sri Sri Gurukul ensure that rituals are conducted as per Agama Shastra and Vedic Vidhi. Yet, under Gurudev's vision, they also adapt with openness, explaining meanings to participants so that rituals become meditative, not mechanical. This balance between precision and awareness keeps tradition alive in its purest form. The Vedic Samsana ensures that the lineage of sacred knowledge flows without dilution, yet remains accessible to all. Now, how do women devotees connect emotionally with Sheetala Devi during this yatra? Together, for women, this yatra is deeply personal. It's like meeting their inner self. Many feel that Sheetla Devi is a mirror of their nurturing strength, patience, and silent endurance. Women volunteers lead many rituals, from preparing altars to leading chants. In each center, women express gratitude for the recognition of feminine power. Gurudev has always emphasized honoring women as embodiments of Shakti. The yatra rekindles that awareness that every mother, sister, and daughter carries the Devi within. In a time where feminine values need revival, this movement becomes both spiritual and social empowerment. Now, what does the journey symbolize in terms of inner sadhana for devotees? Jagadev, the outer yatra mirrors the inner pilgrimage. The Devi's movement from Bangalore to Kailasha in Dharamshala represents the soul's ascent from restlessness to stillness. Each city is a milestone in consciousness. Bangalore symbolizes awakening, Nagpur devotion, Jabalpur purification, Delhi awareness, and Chandigarh integration and Kailash liberation. Gurudev's guidance transforms this into experiential learning. Devotees introspect as the Devi moves, asking, what part of me needs schooling? What must I let go? The culmination at Kailash symbolizes reaching one's inner Himalaya, the cool, untouched space of bliss. The yatra is both a national and an inner spiritual journey. Now, how are devotees from outside India participating in the Sheetla Devi Yatra? The beauty of Gurudev's vision is its inclusivity through live broadcasts and online pujas. Devotees from over 40 countries, including the US, Japan, Argentina, Germany, and South Africa, are joining this sacred journey. They perform small rituals at home, chant the Shitla Ashtakam, and meditate collectively during the same time slots as the yatra. This simultaneous practice creates a global wave of devotion. For many, it's their first introduction to the Devi tradition, yet they experience an undeniable sense of grace. The mother's love knows no borders. Gurudev often reminds us, when one heart prays sincerely, the whole world benefits. That spirit truly manifests through this international participation. Now, how does such global engagement reflect on the future of Sanatana Dharma? It reflects its eternal adaptability. Sanatana Dharma has survived millennia because it welcomes all without demanding conversion, only in a transformation. When foreigners chant Vedic mantras or meditate with sincerity, they are not changing religions, they are connecting to universal vibrations. The Shitla Devi Yatra thus becomes a medium of cultural diplomacy, sharing the sacred without boundaries. To Gurudev's leadership, the Vedic Dhamma Sansthan is witnessing renewed respect for ancient rituals across continents. The world recognizes that Dharma is not belief but a balance, and that balance is what Shitla Devi represents. Now, how does the modern science interpret the calming effect devotees feel during the Devi's darshan? Now, the science today acknowledges that the mind body connection, when devotees engage in chanting, deep breathing, or collective meditation, the parasympathetic nervous system activates, lowering stress hormones like cortisol. This physiological cooling translates into emotional peace. At several Art of Living centers, heart rate variability studies have shown that group chanting produces measurable coherence in participants' heart rhythms. So, while the ancient rishis describe this as Shakti Prasara, the flow of divine energy, modern researchers call it psychophysiological synchronization. Gurudev often says science and spirituality are not contradictory, they are two languages describing the same truth. Now, does the Vedic Dhamma Sansthan collaborate with scientists to study such effects? Yes, we do. The Sansthan works with Ayurvedic research institutions and neuroscientists to study the impact of mantra vibrations on mental health and immunity. Preliminary findings show that the specific chants associated with the Shitala Devi, especially the Shitala Kavacham, enhance alpha brainwave activity, indicative of relaxation. These results bridge ancient understanding with modern empirical validation. However, as we always emphasize, science measures effects while spirituality experiences a sense. Gurudev's presence ensures both coexist gracefully, inspiring us to explore, experience, and evolve without conflict. Now, how does Gurudev's presence energize the entire movement beyond ritualism? The Gurudev embodies what the Devi represents, serenity amidst activity. This guidance transforms rituals into living meditations. When he blesses a ceremony, devotees instantly feel centered, peaceful, and connected. The Sheetala Devi Yatra is not just about traveling with an idol, it's a traveling with awareness. Gurudev's talks remind us that the divine is not confined to a shrine but shines within us. Under his vision, even the smallest act, offering a flower, chanting one mantra, cleaning one corner of the earth, becomes sacred. This is and that is how ritual becomes realization. Now, what is the symbolic meaning of fire or Agni in the homas conducted during the yatra? There, the fire is the purifier. It transforms all offerings into subtle energy that reaches the divine. In the context of the Sheetla Devi, Agni represents her inner heat, which is offered to her for cooling and balance. The Sheetla Homa includes special herbs like neem, ghee, and rice, whose smoke purifies the air and mind. Symbolically, when we offer to Agni, we are offering our anger, ego, restlessness, allowing the Devi to transform them into clarity. Gurudev beautifully says, let your fire become light, not smoke. The Homa is that process of transformation. Now, how do the Art of Living's environmental initiatives connect with the essence of the Shitla Devi? The Sheetala Devi embodies ecological balance. She cools not only bodies but the earth itself. Gurudev's campaigns like Mission Green Earth and river rejuvenation projects are, in essence, the Devi Seva, cooling the heated planet through collective action. During the Yatra, each center plants trees symbolizing the Devi's presence. Devotees pledge to reduce pollution, conserve water, and live mindfully. The message is simple yet profound. Serving the earth is worshipping the mother. The Devi teaches us that devotion without responsibility toward nature is incomplete. Spirituality must manifest as a sustainability. Now, are there scriptural references linking Shitala Devi with environmental balance? Yes, in the Devi Bhagavad Puran, Shitla Mata is described as Bhumi Shitakarini, the one who cools and nurtures the earth. Her association with neem trees and clarity highlights a connection with the natural healing and soil fertility. In ancient times, the temples were often built near water sources to ensure ecological sanctity. Thus, worship of Shitla Devi inherently promoted environmental awareness. Gurudev's initiatives beautifully restore this forgotten connection, translating Vedic ecology into modern sustainability. When we protect nature, we are actually protecting the Devi's body, the Prithvi Mata. Now, how has the Yatra transformed the atmosphere at each Art of Living center it visited? The transformation is tangible. Centers that hosted the Devi report greater peace, more volunteer participation, and spontaneous harmony among communities. Conflicts dissolved, new friendships formed, and even nature responded. Rains arrived in past areas, and the air felt vibrant. This is the magic of collective consciousness. Gurudev explains that when thousands meditate and worship together, they generate positive ions of peace in the subtle field. Each Art of Living center thus becomes a node of cooling energy on the planet, radiating Shitla Devi's compassion across space and time. Now, what legacy will this yatra leave for future generations? That this yatra is not an event, it's the revival of living dharma. It will remind future generations that spirituality is not confined to temples but extends to homes, schools, and communities. The collaboration between the art of living and the Vedic Dhamma Sansthan ensures continuity where ancient mantras meet modern minds. The youth witnessing this will remember how devotion added science, service, and serenity. Gurudev's vision has turned tradition into transformation. The legacy is clear. When humanity cools its inner fire through awareness and love, the earth will heal and dharma will flourish once again. Now, how are devotees describing their personal experiences of Shitla Devi's darshan during the yatra? The stories are profoundly moving. Many devotees report a feeling of immediate cooling, not only physical but emotional. One mother said her child, who often fell ill, felt completely calm and joyful after touching the Devi's feet. Others experienced a release of long held fears and mental restlessness. What is striking is how these experiences mirror the Devi's essence of Sheetal, the power to cool and harmonize. Gurudev often reminds us faith kindles miracles. These are not coincidences, they are signs of inner alignment. When the heart opens in devotion, blessings flow effortlessly. Now, what do the scriptures say about such transformative experiences? Our Shastras say, Bhakti Prabhavam Shaktim Anubhayavati. True devotion, divine energy becomes experiential. The Devi Mahatmya and the Skanda Purana describe how the mother responds instantly to sincere prayer. Shitla Devi's blessings often manifest as health, peace, or clarity of mind. These are not merely external boons but reflections of inner purification. When devotees experience healing, it is because karmic obstructions melt in her presence. In today's world, these miracles reawaken faith in the sacred, proving that the Vedic path is timeless and alive. Now, how is the Art of Living community integrating the Devi's message into daily seva and teaching? Together, at every center, the Devi's arrival has inspired new waves of seva. Teachers and volunteers are organizing health camps, cleanliness drives, and meditation sessions dedicated to her. In Gurukuls, children learn chants and stories of the Devi, connecting spirituality with character building. Women's groups are offering the Annadanam, the food saver, to the needy, reflecting the nurturing aspect of the Divine Mother. Gurudev encourages everyone to live the Devi's message: cool your mind, warm your heart, and serve the world. Thus, the yatra becomes a movement of compassion expressed in action. Now, from a dharmic perspective, how does the Shitla Devi balance feminine energy in society? Devi represents and Devi Shitla represents the Shakti in Soumya or Rupa, power in its agent form. In a world where aggression dominates, her energy restores equilibrium. By honoring her, we recognize the sacred feminine, patience, intuition, healing, and race. Sanatan Dharma teaches that both Shiva and Shakti are incomplete without each other. Gurudev's emphasis on women led initiatives reflects this principle. When society venerates the mother, it naturally becomes compassionate and wise. Sheetala Devi's Yatra thus reaffirms the dharmic truth that peace begins with the balance of energies within and around us. Now, how does the meditation help devotees connect with the subtle energy of Sheetala Devi? The meditation quiets the noise of the mind so that divine energy can be felt. When devotees meditate after arti or homa, they often sense a cooling current flowing through their body. This is the Devi's pranic essence. Gurudev teaches special meditations where one visualizes light descending from the Sahasrara or the crown chakra, like soothing nectar, symbolizing the Devi's grace. As thoughts settle, gratitude arises naturally. That silence is where the mother dwells. Through consistent practice of Sudarshan Kriya and meditation, devotees can carry that cooling presence into every moment of life. Now, what is the esoteric significance of the Devi's journey ending at the Kailash ashram in Dharamshala? Jagadev Kailash is symbolic of ultimate stillness, the abode of Shiva, pure consciousness. The Devi's journey from Bangalore to Kailash represents the soul's journey from activity to awareness. Her sthapana, where there signifies the merging of Shiva with Shakti, of devotion with meditation. This union brings a balance to the collective consciousness. In ancient tradition, such yatras were designed to elevate the subtle vibrations of the land. Under Gurudev's grace, this sacred finale completes a powerful cycle of purification, cooling hearts, and consecrating the nation with peace. Now, how do young volunteers and students in the Gurukul relate to Sheetla Devi's energy? The Gurukul students have a very special bond with the Devi. They decorate her altar, chant mantras, and participate in storytelling sessions that teach moral and spiritual lessons. For them, the Devi is not distant, she is their protector and friend. They say Mata cools our exams, not just our minds. The innocence of their devotion is deeply touching. Gurudev believes children carry divine impressions from past lives. Their natural reverence for the mother indicates how the next generation is being nurtured in both knowledge and devotion. Now, what message does this yatra convey for modern humanity struggling with stress and disconnection? The message is simple: cool down, slow down, and connect. In today's race for success, minds burn with anxiety and competition. Sheetla Devi's presence reminds us that true power lies in calmness. When the mind cools, wisdom awakens. Her worship teaches emotional hygiene to cleanse the mind daily through prayer, meditation, and gratitude. Gurudev says, don't carry heat in your heart, let the breeze of the divine flow through you. The Devi's Yatra is therefore a call to collective healing of mind, society, and nature. Now, how will the Vedic Dham Sansthan and Art of Living continue this initiative beyond the Yatra? After the Sthapna Mahotsava, both institutions plan to establish the Sheetla Devi Seva Kendras, centers focusing on health awareness, Ayurveda, women's empowerment, and education. Annual festivals and online satsangs will continue to spread her teachings. Collaborative research with Sri Sri University will explore the intersection of mantra therapy and emotional well-being. Gurudev's guidance ensures that this is not a one-time event but a long-term spiritual movement where devotion, science, and seva merge for societal upliftment. Finally, what blessings do you wish to offer all devotees as this yatra concludes? Jagadav, may every home become a temple and every heart a throne of the Divine Mother. May Sheetla Devi bless all with swasthya or health or shanti or peace and sampatti or abundance. May her cooling grace extinguish the fires of anger, greed, and lust and division, restoring the harmony across humanity. Gurudev's message echoes through this yatra. The Mother is not outside, she breathes within you. Let us live with that awareness and spread her light. Wherever compassion flows, there is the Devi resides. Jagadav.